MMA Pros Picks is sponsored by the Mad Lab, MMA.com. Full breakdowns, DFS, wagers, projections, podcasts, and live streams for every single card. Use the promo code MADLYNCH for 40% off your first month.
Yeah, I'm going to stand with MMA. I mean, I think it's important that us MMA guys get behind our MMA guys and give love and not beat down. Like, I've been that guy so many times where it's like, yo, come on, let's get around. Like, why would we go against the guy that's fighting Jake Paul? You know, Jake Paul, it's not like he's a bad guy or anything, but he talks like a bad guy. He chooses that route. So if you're going to choose the bad guy route and you're not an MMA fighter and you're going to badmouth MMA fighters and pick your fights, each fight at a time, like according to styles, like you knocked out Nate Robinson, that was a picked fight against a guy who's shorter, that, you know, it's a picked fight. You pick Ben Askren because you know he's got some of the worst hands in mixed martial arts today. But that's the thing that he can make that up with is his durability, his willingness to go into the dark places, which is exhaustion. That's the thing that I think that you can't sleep on Ben Askren is he'll go. His wrestling background, I mean, since a child, you're built to go into the dark places, the places where when you're both tired and you get up and you're taking a deep breath of air, he can take 5 steps forward when most people against him have had to take 5 steps back. And that's that wrestling mentality of toughness and durability, and it's a mentality. It really is, and he has that in spades. This man is a champion. He's a champion, Ben Askren. He really is. And there's no jump knees involved, so that leaves him a lot. That honestly does help him a lot. He's gonna have to watch out for uppercuts. Those will be big weapons against him because he has a bad habit of dipping his head. But he can cover like this with big old 12-ounce gloves, so that's gonna help him. There's a lot of advantages to this for Ben Askren too. Even with his lack of offensive striking, his defense will be good. Good enough to face Jake Paul and take him to the later rounds. And then when it gets to the later rounds, he has a good chance at winning this fight because he can keep his cardio up better. Jake Paul is still relatively green at a professional level, so the later the rounds go, the more sloppy he's going to get. That's a guarantee. How many rounds is that? 8 rounds is a lot. So I know against pro boxers myself, by about round 4 or 5, against a real seasoned pro, that's when you know I can hit a wall and I've got real good cardio. But that's a real seasoned pro. So we're talking like Jake Paul is not that in any context whatsoever. He's very green. He's got athletic skills and he's got power. But around 4 or 5, that fight becomes anybody's, and it's just going to matter who can pull out that last 4. And that's where Ben Askren can get ahead and win, I believe, is the last 4 rounds. That's the dark place I'm talking about. That's where Jake Paul's athleticism and his power kind of goes out, and it's now an even fight. But he's got to get through the first 4 rounds in Ben Askren, and his offensive striking is not very good, and that's not a secret. So we'll see what adjustments he makes. They're not going to let him grab the back of the neck. They're not going to let him do all that stuff. So it's going to be interesting.
Ben Askren. Man, so here's my thought on it. Neither one of those dudes can box at all. But one dude has grown up competing his entire life. He knows how to compete. He knows how to perform, and he knows how to prepare for competition. And the other man makes YouTube videos. So you've got an athlete versus a YouTube star. I don't care what they're playing. If they were playing tennis, I'm gonna take the athlete. I think Ben Askren gets it done, and I think everybody's gonna finally shut the F up about Jake Paul.
Probably the worst guy to represent MMA possible. I'm gonna go with Jake Paul, 2nd round KO.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I can't say Jake Paul because I'm sparring him. I can't say Ben because I haven't seen Ben strikers. What I do know, Ben, is Ben tends to mix it up to get the takedown. And Ben's been fighting a lot longer. Has been fighting longer than Jake ever has. And Ben has been in some really tough situations having to be forced to strike when you're dealing with Douglas Lima, Andre Koreshkov, and allow those guys, you know, Robbie Lawler. For you to get hit in the face by Robbie Lawler and beat the man, that tells a lot about your character. So you really can't. I'm going to lean with Ben on this one because Ben is more of an experienced martial artist. And come on, like, there's days when Ben has to spar. Hey, Ben, we're sparring, no takedowns, boxing only. Okay, you know, that's his job.
Man, I gotta go for Askren. He needs to make us, the MMA community, look good here and quiet up Jake Paul.
Yeah, so well, that's a very interesting one, man. Honestly, I'm leaning towards Ben Askren. I know a lot of people's his striking, which he hasn't really. I mean, in the MMA realm, I mean, if you look at it, it's like, okay, striking's not the best, but people got to remember, man, like, he's a fighter. I forget what his record is in MMA. He's only lost twice. He's fought a lot of the good guys, best guys, been thumped around. Robbie Lawler's put it on him. I mean, that was a crazy fight. You know, the Jorge Masvidal, he took that knee. And so I feel Askren's a fighter, man, where Jake Paul, a lot of these YouTube guys, you know what I mean, they think they're fighters. They're in there learning, not taking. I think Jake Paul knows he got a little skill behind him. But Ben's like a fighter. I'm sure he's been beat up in the gym numerous of times, like all of us have in MMA. You know, at this level, everybody gets beat up in the gym. There's so many stories that a lot of people don't know what happens in the gym. So that's what I feel why Ben will take that fight, because of just the toughness of probably getting beat up a lot. And I'm hoping he can pull it off, honestly. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. Dano, I'd bet $1 million in this fight for Ben Askren win. And I don't know, man, it's crazy, but I feel like Ben Askren has more experience as a fighter, and I will bet on Ben Askren too, but I don't know, man. Jake Paul is more he got more experience on boxing than Ben Askren. But I will give my shot with Ben Askren.
With that original flow, head kicks with the pros, picks of the fights or anything in the mix. Getting closer to the heart of the flame, bringing conversations with heavy hitting names. You feel the love of the game.